we have is the flip way to get local sales with a foresight titled Online Reviews, Their Importance, How to Get Them, and How to Handle Negative Reviews. Philip.
Thank you, John. Right, well, talking about reviews, the number of times I've heard from business owners that my local business doesn't need a review, or reviews are for hotels and restaurants, or I've run a hairdresser's, what's that got to do with about reviews? Or more importantly, I'm frightened of getting a bad review. More about that later. Well, guys and ladies, it's time to wake up. Reviews are here and they're here to stay, and they are probably one of the most important things about your business. Don't just take my word for it. An American company called Optimum Feedback that do surveys, and they ran a survey last year. 95% of people use the internet to search for local business. But more importantly, and I can't quite believe this number is as high as this, 84% of people trust reviews as much as referral business. So I can't quite, or personal recommendation, I can't quite believe that's right. But even if it was 50%, at the bottom line, it provides social proof for your business. Your potential customers are going to read the reviews. They're actually going to probably say, good ones, bad ones, I'll take the top 5% off, bottom 5% off and see what's in there in the middle. But they will read reviews. But also, more importantly, websites will read the reviews and see how many stars you've got and will rank you better, whether it be Yelp or Thompson Directory or Google My Business, or rank you better for better reviews. So no longer can we just rely on personal recommendations. It's time to actually have a strategy on how you're going to instigate an action plan for getting more high quality reviews. So how do we go about doing this? Firstly, make sure your business is listed on all the top review sites in the UK. Google, Yelp, Facebook, TripAdvisor, particularly if you're in the sort of hotel, catering industry, any hospitality business, Yelp, and Thompson Directory. Also check to see if there are any industry-specific ones. There's a number of lawyer ones, for example, solicitors have directory sites. Make sure if your industry's got any of those, make sure you're listed on there as well. It used to be that Google only took reviews by people who actually wrote reviews on Google. Not anymore. They will actually take into account reviews written on Yelp and on Facebook. So they will widen, and TripAdvisor, they will widen that out slightly. Because one of the downsides for Google is you have to have a Gmail account to write a review on Google. And a lot of people say, I don't want to have a Gmail account. It used to be that you couldn't then do anything about that. Now you can at least redirect them to go and write a review on Yelp or somewhere else, and Google will pick that up. I mentioned Google because without a doubt that is the most powerful place to have your reviews written. Another quick tip, if you've got a premise, if your business has got a premises like a hairdresser's, for example, don't get people to write reviews while they're at the premises. We had this the other day, last year, in Reigate, and literally she was handing iPads to her customers while they were having their hair done, saying, look, use the iPad, but while you're there, could you write a review? Of course, they're all going on there writing a review, but of course it was coming from the same IP address. And Google went, no. So kick them out. So if you do have a premises and you're asking people to write reviews, ask them to do it from home. That's the key to do. Right, second thing is, if you don't ask, you won't get. Simple as that. It's amazing. If you actually have satisfied customers and you ask them, about 6 out of 10 will write a review for you. If they know where to go and if they know what you're actually after. But because they have no understanding that a review is important to you as a business owner. So you need to direct them to do it. Which is really why we went down the road of review cards that I talked about in my foresight. This helps people to actually take them directly to the right page. Because if you start saying, well, go to Google, search for here, do this, then you might find a box. People can't be bothered. Even if they remember to write a review, they can't be bothered. So take them to exactly the right place where they can write a review is key. Even if you don't see your customers and therefore can hand out things like cards or anyway postcards or whatever to encourage them to do it, maybe put it out on an invoice, put a link on your invoice, put a link in your signature card. Just send them an email. If they're satisfied, please could you write me a review? Ask. If you don't ask, you don't get. One thing to remember though is, if you think you've got an unhappy customer, don't send them to write a review. So maybe therefore, think twice about a link on the invoices, because you don't want to encourage negative reviews. So if you think anybody's unhappy, you're running a pub and the chef didn't turn up that day and they're pretty, the food was not very good that day, or whatever it might be, don't give them a card to ask them to write the review. Give them your own business card. Ask them to send you feedback. That's the most important thing to do, is to make sure you engage with the customer and only encourage the ones that you think are going to write good reviews. Right, negative reviews. That is the sort of thorny topic for everybody. Simply because however good your business is, in the end, a customer won't like it. Doesn't matter what you do, I'm sorry, but everybody will at some stage perform badly. As I say, it could be the chef doesn't turn up, it could be that the golf, it's been raining for the last 6 months and the greens are lousy. So everything, sometimes it's in your control, sometimes it's not. But people will write negative reviews. It used to be years ago that they would write a letter to you, and you were in control because it was only to you. But now, the trouble is, it's actually out there in the general public very, very quickly. The first thing you do, God, I'm really pissed off, I'm going to write a review, bang! And you have no call to action. You've got no way of going back to them immediately before they publish that review. So it's actually out there. And that's one of the hardest things to do. But the critical thing is, be proactive if there's a negative review. That's the most important thing to do. So firstly, when that negative review comes up, don't take it personally. I know it's your business, and it's the easiest thing to do, you're passionate about it, but don't take it personally. And don't answer immediately. When you're angry, when you're cross, you're just going to inflame the situation even further. Just take a step back. If need be, sleep on it, but preferably on the same day. Write a measured response back. As I say, don't do it while it's still angry. Respond as the business owner. And do remember that old adage, and it is true, the customer is always right. So make sure you respond as the business owner. And don't blame the reviewer for false information. Oh, my chef's never gone sick. Well, maybe he has gone sick that day. So don't, it's not false news. It's not a false review, not false comments. When you reply, be genuine. Empathise with them. Engage with the reviewer. Make sure you've actually investigated what was the problem that day. If there was a problem, explain that you've actually resolved the problem. Apologise. Big thing, apologise. Make sure you've resolved it. And the reason you need to actually go into a bit more detail is because the next person who's going to read it wants to see it that you've actually addressed the issue and it's not just a standard response. So it's not, oh, sorry about that, and move on. Try and give a bit more detail. The other thing to remember is that it's not, you may have lost that customer, they may never come back to your pub or may never come back to your golf club, but don't worry about that. You've got to think about who's going to be the next person that reads the review. It's not just the person you're trying to calm down. If you start to get into a sort of online discussion with the person who's written a bad review and you put your reply up and they come back again, try and take it offline. Volunteer to give them a call, ask them to call you, whatever it might be. Try and take it out of the public domain, because otherwise it's just a flame war that everyone's going to say, well, don't do that. Don't get involved in that. Most importantly though, whether it's a good review or a bad review, respond. Even if it's a thank you. And in fact, only this morning Google actually announced that now if somebody writes a review and you respond to it, the person who wrote the review will get an email telling them there's been a response from the business owner. So again, good or bad, engage with your customers. It shows that you're a caring business owner. And it's important for the next lead that's going to be reading the reviews, not necessarily the one who's left the bad review or the good review, but it's the ones that actually are coming there to read before they've actually done business with you. Also remember, it's not just human beings that are reading those reviews. It's the search engines. It's the bots that come and visit and read the reviews. So don't forget, put your keywords in there. It's another place you can actually be putting keywords if relevant. Don't stuff it in just because you want to stuff your keywords in there, but if you can, do put the keywords in there. So in summary, now is the time to create an action plan to increase the number of positive reviews for your business, because it will affect your bottom line. 1, make sure your business is listed on all the main review sites. Make sure that all the information that they require is there. So if they're asking for times you're open, your full address, photographs, put them up. People are much more likely to write a review if your business details are complete. Make sure the details on each of the directories are the same. So don't forget the town or the street or the number. Put it in the same format. Actively monitor your reviews so that you can go back and respond. Make sure, particularly negative reviews, you respond, but also positive reviews. Who here has ever heard of Google Alerts? Okay. Who uses Google Alerts for their business? Okay. For those that don't know, Google Alerts is a free service that Google provide. You can put in your name, you can put in your business name, you can put in a competitor's name, you can put in anything really. And if a new page is posted or new information is posted about that somewhere on the web, 90% of the time Google will send you an email telling you it's there. So if, let's say you're running a hotel and a Canadian visitor's come over, put a review on a Canadian site in Ontario, well, you're never going to know it's there. But if you've got your business name up there, you'll get an email notifying you. So even if it's a review site that's away from where you are naturally looking, or even if it is one where you're naturally looking, you'll be notified and you'll be nudged just to go and have a read of it. And it's quite useful to do, as I say, even for competitors and things, to find out where they're coming in. Have they posted a blog, for example, on LinkedIn? It's quite a useful tool. So I really recommend everybody look at Google Alerts. It's a free service. Set them up. But the most important thing is to build a process to get reviews. So make sure you ask for them. Make sure you give them a way of actually getting directly to the right place to write the reviews. Make sure you only ask for people who you've done a good service for. But at the end of the day, if you've got more positive reviews, it will affect your business and it will affect your bottom line without a doubt. And it's one last stat worth remembering is that customers are 31% more likely to spend more money with you if you've got a 5-star review. Now, there's nothing you can do about a bad review. You can complain to the Google, etc., but they don't really respond very much. What you've got to do is just make sure you've got lots of good reviews up there if you get a bad one. Thank you very much.